Insta360 ONE RS is a great tool for shooting night lapses. The $299 4K model does an excellent job, and it's a good price for a camera that is waterproof and can shoot those night lapses with good results. It's a tiny little camera, it's easy to set up, and in today's video I'm going to show you the best settings that I use to get incredible night lapses from this camera. So in order to set the best settings for a night lapse, we're going to get to the proper mode here. So we're going to swipe left, and we are going to go to the interval mode. Now you will notice there is a night setting on here, and there is a star lapse setting. But the settings that I'm going to plug in, I find are best to enter under the interval mode. The interval mode gives us the most flexibility with those settings. If you go under the star lapse and the night mode, you don't have as many options available as the interval mode. So if you click here on interval, first thing you want to do is click down here at the bottom. And this is where you're going to have that 48 megapixel 8K 4x3 option available. So to be clear, this interval mode is going to shoot individual photos that you will then need to edit later on and put together to make a time lapse, which is going to give you the most control and the best results ultimately, because you're going to have raw photos available that you can edit and really bring out the detail that you want to. So after we set that, we're then gonna swipe left here, and this is where we're gonna get into the other settings. So the first setting you wanna make sure of here is you wanna make sure it's set to JPEG plus RAW. So technically what this will do is it will take 2 photos each time it takes a photo. One of them will be the lower resolution JPEG, and the other will be the higher resolution RAW. Having that higher resolution RAW photo is going to be really useful for getting the most possible detail in your night lapse. So it's important to have that raw photo available there so that you have maximum editing flexibility. So the first setting we want to set here is the interval time. You're going to have a couple different options. You're going to have 3 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and so forth, all the way up to 120 seconds. When you're doing a night lapse, if it's a really dark sky and there's not a moon in the sky, you're generally going to want to set that interval to 30. If you are working with a sky that has a full moon or a bright moon, you're generally going to be okay setting that to 10. So basically what this means is your camera is going to take one photo every 30 seconds or every 10 seconds. The next setting here, we're going to set the shutter speed. So generally you're going to want your shutter speed to be set to 30 seconds. And what that means is your shutter is going to stay open for that full 30 seconds. It's going to collect the most detail possible, and it's going to then put that into the image. Now, if you're doing the 10-second interval, then you're going to want to set your shutter speed to 10 to match that. But I'm going to set this back to 30 because right now I'm setting this for a dark, starry night with no moon. For the ISO max here, generally I recommend setting this to 1600 if you're working with a starry sky and no moon or anything else in the sky. If there is a moon in the sky, then I recommend setting this to either 1000 or 800. That's going to give you the best results when the sky's brighter. But if it is just stars, go for that 1600. That's generally going to give you the best results. For the white balance for a night lapse, I generally recommend keeping this between 3000K and 4000K. So you do have a lot of options in between. My personal favorite is 3200K. I like how that handles the colors in the night sky, but basically anywhere between 3000 and 4000K is going to be acceptable and work well. Next setting we want to make sure we've set here is the angle of the lens. So generally you're going to want to make sure it's set to either ultra wide or wide. I recommend ultra wide. Ultra wide is going to give a full sensor readout, and you're going to get the most possible detail captured within that photo. And you can always correct that distortion later on when you're editing. So I recommend definitely going with the ultra wide. So those are all of my best settings for night lapses. I hope you found them useful, and I hope you have a great time shooting and creating night lapses with this incredible camera.